First, let me just thank you all for allowing me to serve as mayor. I want to go through the budget this evening. We're waiting for the final copies to come up. They should be here any time. It's my privilege to provide you with some of the highlights of the 2011-2012 proposed Town of Vernon budget for the upcoming fiscal year. As mayor, I believe that government has a responsibility to provide solid fiscal budgeting, which considers protections in the area of public health, public safety, as well as public education. We need to be able to live in the town and be able to afford to live in the town, so the government must be accountable for its spending. As your mayor, it's that responsibility and the accountability that will keep our town moving forward. We want to control taxes and strive to have the best schools and have the safest streets. We must support sensible environmental policies to reduce our reliance on fossil fuel. As mayor, I've found over the last couple of years, and you'll see it within the WPCA budget, that good environmental policies support good fiscal policies as well. As mayor, in this budget, we've created a sensible budget to develop new programs to bring in additional revenue. So I want to talk to you about economic development in a minute. But let me tell you a little story. Last week, my son Patrick came home, and he said, "Dad, I took my Connecticut Mastery test." He said, "Dad, one of the questions on the test, and it was an essay test, was a question that you were supposed to write a letter to the mayor and recommend to the mayor that he should support some type of development on a piece of land, and why." And so Patrick tells me they were given 3 choices. One was an amusement park, one was an athletic field, and one was a teen center. So he tells me he writes the letter, and he says, "Dear Dad," I'm sure he got marked off for that, right? "The ideal choice for the property is an amusement park. By supporting the amusement park, you'll increase or expand the tax base in real estate. You'll expand the personal property tax base, and you'll increase job opportunities in the area. You'll expand the tax base, which will increase revenue to the town. As a result of the choice, you've accomplished 3 things. Everybody's property taxes will go down. We can repair and redevelop an athletic field. We can upgrade the existing teen center." And he also pointed out we might pass a budget. Now, the essay topic is actually true. The points I'm making with the essay topic are illustrative, so if somebody's going to report that there's an amusement park coming into town, it's not actually true. The point is we want to talk about economic development. And now we've come to a point, and you see a picture here, and that's when I first realized it with we were all sitting around the table and we were talking about how to reduce costs and expenses. And what occurred to me at that point was that we've come to a point where our municipal service costs are outgrowing our tax base. As a result of that determination, we will commit resources to the expansion of the tax base by increasing investments in economic development. This is necessary, and we have an economic development plan, and there's some additions that need to be made, but it needs to be fully implemented. These resources are necessary for the implementation, which will increase jobs and job opportunities in the area, as well as expand the tax base, repopulate abandoned storefronts, as well as businesses. We're down 40 or 50 or so businesses in the last assessment and grant list. In this budget, what I've tried to do is balance what we want and need with what we can afford. Despite the challenges inherent during the slow economic period, I want to ensure that Vernon remains stable and that it's affordable for our taxpayers as well as our residents. This budget doesn't call for reductions in services provided to the residents. My recommendation is a responsible budget, accountable for all the costs and services, as well as taking responsibility for the difficult economic times, with a historically low spending increase. The budget that I'm proposing this year increases spending by 0.81%, in other words, just over 0.75%, and the budget lowers taxes, and it reduces the tax rate under 30 mils. So it goes from 30.02 to 29.96. Now the sewer budget, and this is what I was talking about with the environmental initiatives that we've been doing. The sewer budget and the sewer rates, we'll talk about the sewer rates in a second, but the budget currently at $5.6 million, the proposed budget is $5.5 million. It's a reduction of $58,000 or 1%. The WPCA reviews and sets the rates in July, and the first quarter billing of the fiscal year is in October. It's done that way, and most of you in the council know, because they have to review all the revenue projections, check the billing, and right now they haven't had any discussion about reduction of the rates, but we'll find out later on. It was certainly a reduction in the spending. So there's, in this past year in the sewer department, there was no increase in the rates, so we'll see what happens, but I think it's a good budget. Now, how do we get here? To achieve savings, we've done a number of things. We've invested heavily in technical infrastructure to increase efficiency and effectiveness in the delivery of services. We have moved our bridge projects ahead, and many of our bridges are now complete. The final three, West Main is in design, Talcottville is ready for design, and Phoenix Street is ready for construction. Each time we do a bridge project, we lower future costs. We have established policies that support our environment and reduce fuel usage, which in turn reduces our national reliance on foreign fuel, but it also lowers our local spending. We have consolidated costs through the government, working hand in hand with the sewer department, the school department, ferreting out soft spending figures from real spending figures. Over the last 3 years, my administration, in this administration, we focused on how to address the largest fixed costs that we have, which is labor. Keep in mind what's going on in the state and the national economy. Over the last 3 years, we were able to successfully negotiate reasonable labor contracts with an eye not on just the upcoming fiscal year, but for fiscal years down the road. We have implemented pension reform. We have implemented wage controls, and we have implemented health insurance caps. We have held the line on contractual wages over the next 3 years, and I believe we're going to help, in this budget, we're going to hold the line on wages.